Okay. So yesterday there was this question in the science group about assessment in the MYP. Someone wanted a presentation or something that they could do it with their teacher. So I thought that I will just take this session where in the WhatsApp group I have many teachers who are new MYP teachers as well as those who are aspiring MYP teachers. So I thought that I'll just take this session for everyone. So it might hit you, those who are not in the MYP and who have not taught MYP at all. Okay, so it may be a little new to you. So please ask questions. All right. There are people who are experienced in the MYP. They'll be able to answer you. And I will also try my best. So, what is the purpose of assessments in the MYP? So, the main purpose are these four things that you can see in the picture, in the image. Okay. So the very first thing is that we need to ensure that we are developing the ATL skills of our students. So there are five main ATL skills: communication, social skills, thinking skills, research skills, and self-management skills. Okay. So these skills have to be taught through the curriculum and through the activities that you do in the MYP, the core that you have in the MYP. So all these uh, curricula as well as activities should help in the development of the ATL skills. Okay. Second purpose of the MYP assessment is to inculcate positive attitudes in our students. The third main purpose is for informing teaching so that we know that students have understood what we have taught, and therefore we will have some assessments which are for learning. That means it is for the teachers to know whether how much has your student understood what you are trying to teach, and also assessment of learning to understand how much the students have understood. So that would be a summative assessment. Okay. And another purpose for the assessments in the MYP are to inculcate in students deep understanding and higher order thinking. So there are different command terms that will help us to find out whether the students are able to uh, attempt higher order thinking skill. Okay. So these are the main purpose reasons for having assessments in the MYP. Now, when does assessment happen? So it happens at three main points. At the start of the unit, when you start the unit, you start with a diagnostic assessment, right? Prior knowledge. How much do the students know about the topic? So that would be at the start of the unit. Then during the unit, you will have some formative assessments, some summative assessments when the unit is taking place, and at the end of the unit. So end of the unit, what kind of assessment can you take? You give summative, you give reflection also as a part of assessment, reflecting on the impact of science. That is criteria D in science. And in other subjects also, you have reflection as a part of your summative assessment. And then also there is scope for discussion. So these are the 3 points where assessment happens in the MYP: at the start of the unit, during the unit, and at the end of the unit. Now, this particular image talks about the MYP assessment philosophy. What is the philosophy behind MYP assessments? First is that it focuses on student abilities. Okay. It is about what the students can do. All right. And how will you know? By giving them criterion related assessments. Okay. There are certain criteria and certain fixed standards, objectives that the students have to meet. So you have criterion related assessment and a balanced curriculum. You ensure that all subjects have equal value. So when you see, most of the curriculum do not give much weightage to art and physical and health education. But over here in the MYP, if you look at the MYP framework, art as well as physical and health education is one of the subjects in the MYP, and it has equal weightage. So the assessment philosophy of MYP is that there is balanced curriculum, equal value across all subject areas. Now, in the MYP, when you assess the curricula, assessment is occurs and is divided into four criteria. Okay, you have criterion A, criterion B, criterion C, and criterion D. So if you look at it, or if you look at the criteria, criterion A of all the subjects assesses knowledge and understanding. So how much does the student know about content and concepts? So you assess knowledge and understanding, and this can be done through project or tests or essays. Okay, so these are the formats that you can have criterion A. Criterion B focuses on the skills of the subjects. Okay, if it is science, if it is math, if it is humanities, it is through investigation and applying of the skills. And if it is design and art, it is through the process journal. So criterion B is assessed in this way. Criterion C mostly is about communication and the critical thinking part. Okay, and this can be through presentations and through reports. And criterion D involves reflecting. So we said, right, reflection is a part of the summative assessment. It involves reflecting, evaluation, and responding. So evaluating and responding, if you see, you can see it in arts, and mostly through the reflection documents. So assessment, MYP assessments, all subjects are assessed through four criteria: criterion A, criterion B, criterion C, and criterion D. All subjects have all four criteria. Now, this is the different criteria in the different subjects. So in MYP, you have 8 subject groups: language and literature, language acquisition, humanities or individuals and society, sciences, mathematics, the arts. Art includes music, visual arts, theater, drama, okay, dance, physical and health education, design. So these are the 8 subject groups. In addition to this, you also have the personal project in grade 10, and you have the interdisciplinary learning in all the levels of MYP, in all the grades of MYP. So now these are all the criteria names, okay, for the different subjects. So if you see in language and literature, criterion A is analyzing, B is organizing, C is producing tests, and D is using language. Similarly, all subjects have 4 criteria each, except for the personal project and the interdisciplinary learning, where they have 3 criteria each. Okay. Now with MYP enhancements, they will be looking at, looking at the criteria, and they will be making some changes in the criteria, but this will not happen very quickly. Right now, they will be going in for piloting the unit planner. Okay, so the inquiry part of the unit planner will change a bit, and IB will be inviting schools from December to participate in the pilot. Okay. Then how does assessment work in the MYP? So when you see, when I spoke about criterion A, B, C, D, so this is an example of criterion B of mathematics. Okay. So when you see the criterion, it will be like this. So the title of the criterion is given, investigating pattern, and the objectives are given. The assessment objectives are given. Now these assessment objectives are in the form of strands. These are called as strands. Strand 1, strand 2, and strand 3. So 1, 2, and 3, these are the 3 assessment strands of criterion B of mathematics. Okay. And now if you see this rubric, you will see that there are 2 columns. The first column is the achievement level, and second column is the level descriptor. Now, as a requirement of the MYP, you are supposed to create one more column with task specific clarification when you give an assignment to a student. So whenever you give a summative assessment to a student, that assessment should have your rubric for a particular criteria and the task specific clarification of that particular task. And if you see over here in the level descriptor, where you see strand 1, strand 2. Now this is strand 1 and this is strand 2. So 1 and 2, strand 1 says apply with teacher support mathematical problem solving techniques to discover simple patterns. And strand 2 is state predictions consistent with patterns. So if students does only this, then the students may get a 1 or a 2. But if you see that strand over here, the description here in 7 and 8, it is exactly what is there above over here at the end of year 5. So for a student to get 7 or 8 out of 8 in a criterion, in this criterion B, they should be able to satisfy all the 3 strands of this particular criterion. Okay, so therefore you have 3 strands here, 3 strands here. But if the student has not written the third strand at all, then you will directly come here to grade. Okay, if you don't see the third strand in the student work, then the student maximum will get a 4. So this is how you grade. So therefore, this is called a rubric. And this is linked to subject objectives. These are all the subject objectives. The strands are the subject objectives. And you can see the levels, achievement level, 1, 2, 3, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8. Okay, each level is described what the student can do. This is the description. And command terms are included, which will describe the level of thinking. So these things that are in bold, apply, state prediction, apply, suggest, select and apply. These verbs, they are the verbs of the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so these verbs are called as command terms. And based on the command terms, you will see the level of thinking of the students. Okay, so here in level 2, it says state, level 1 and 2. Whereas the same strand in level 7 and 8 becomes describe. So the student, if the student describes the pattern, then it will come here. But it will, if the student just states prediction, then directly the student will get this grade. Okay, so this is how you grade the rubric. Next. Now again over here, description about the different levels and the command terms. The command terms are the thinking verbs of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so here in this particular slide, they have shown over here the different command terms that are used in the different levels. So you can see this is the command term. This is the command term, verify. Okay, these are all the command terms. Next. Now, what is the process of assessing in the MYP? So what you do is you link rubric to the objectives. Okay, in the strands, the objectives are the strands of the criterion. Assess criteria on scale. You have a scale of 0 to 1 to 8. Okay, you use command terms. I showed you command terms are the Bloom taxonomy verbs. And then what the teacher does is applies best fit judgment. So you cannot give a decimal number. You cannot give an average to a student when you're giving any grades in the MYP. Okay. And you evaluate against the descriptors. You will read the descriptor and then you will start grading starting from the lowest level. You start from top when you're grading. Okay. And then you award odd or even levels. Either you give 1 or 2, looking at what is how the students have written the answers. So odd or even levels are awarded based on strand completion within a level. So if the strand is fully completed, the student has done everything in that strand, then you get the even number. 1 and 2, you will get 2. But if it is not fully completed, then you get the odd number. You get 1, 3, 5, or 7. Okay. Now, what are the different steps for making sure that effective student assessment takes place? Okay. First thing is, once the student has done the test and you have checked the paper, the teachers have checked the task, You need to moderate the response. Moderation is a requirement of the program. Those who are going for authorization as well as for evaluation, moderation is a must. Though it does not say in the preliminary review documents that it is submitted, that it should be submitted, but when you go for the evaluation visit, when the evaluation visitor comes in, they will ask for evidences to show moderation. Okay. Now I'm telling you, I'm showing you, I made a checklist right now. When you look at the guide to program evaluation, okay, this is the guide to program evaluation. What I have done is I have looked at starting from this page. Okay. Page number 33 of the PDF. Okay, and page number whatever 20, 25, 25 of this document. So these are all the requirements, standards. Okay, so if you see over here, if you see here, example of student reports. So in the additional documents that you are saving for your evaluation, please save report samples. Okay, though it is not stated in the preliminary review, but you have to submit this to the evaluation teams. So you need reports. Another thing that is required. Please, can you mute 1 minute? I'm going to mute everybody. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so okay, in addition to the reports, you will see here, see, a description of how standardization of assessment in subjects take place in the school. You need to describe or you need to give evidence of standardization. Okay, you need to give evidence of moderation also. Even about the personal project, how do you standardize? These are the requirements for personal project also. Okay, the process of standardization of assessment. So standardization of personal project is also important. So these are the requirements that you have to produce as evidence for evaluation. That's why when I have put this over here, moderation of responses, very, very important. Moderation should take place after every assessment cycle, and that has to be shown as evidence to the visiting team. Then unit progress reporting, you have to report. There has to be a report card, either every semester, okay, or at least once at the end of the year. Semester grades recording, you need to record those grades. So there has to be an assessment record sheet, okay, where you are recording your criteria, grades that the students have received in each of the criteria. And you may also have three-way conferences or student-led conferences. You always have a नहीं क्या होता है PTSM. So when I say PTSM, parent teacher student meeting. Usually in CBSE or in other schools, it is the parent teacher meeting. But over here, you need the student also to be involved in the meeting so that they know what is right and how they can improve. They can listen to the feedback from the teachers. Okay. Now it is also very important to, technically speaking, if you see, ATL skills are not assessed. You don't grade ATL skills in the MYP, but you do it implicitly through your strands of the criteria because you teach those skills, right? So then what are the skills that need to be built while you are teaching the students or while you are assessing the student? Communication skills, the verbal and written expression. Okay, you need to teach them communication skills. You need to teach them thinking skills, develop critical problem solving and analytical thinking skills. Okay, so when I say thinking skills, it is problem solving. Critical thinking is problem solving. And when I say creativity, it is about innovation. Okay, thinking out of the box. So those needs to be assessed. Then research skills improves ability to gather and analyze different information that is required. Self-management skills, how you can organize and manage time during the exams or manage time when you have to meet deadlines for submitting assessments. And social skills builds collaboration and interpersonal skills. So you have orals, okay, in team sports, you have to build social skills, right, for PHE. So these skills are all important and they are assessed implicitly through the different assessment objectives of the different 4 criteria. Okay. So now,
Ma'am, I have a small question.
bolo Tiasa.
Ma'am, what is the difference between modernization and standardization? I didn't get it.
Good question. So standardization mostly takes place before the exam. Okay. Now suppose if I have 3 divisions, okay, in a class, in a particular grade level, section A, section B, section C. So section A, Vaibhav is teaching, section B, I am teaching, and section C, Satish is teaching. We are saying this because we are all 3 science teachers. Uh, Suppose we are teaching science in grade A. Then if we are going to create an assessment task, then how do we know that our 3 understanding of the task is the same, and what are we expecting from the student is the same, and what marks we are giving is we have a consensus. So for that you have a standardization. Okay,
Okay.
so that you are not
Okay.
testing out of syllabus, or you are not testing what is not taught to the students. You are ensuring that by standardization. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
moderation is after the students have taken the test. Okay, I grade the paper, Vaibhav grades his paper, Satish grades his student's paper. Okay. And from our papers, we will select at least 4 samples. I will select one excellent student's work, I will select one poor student's work, and I will select 2 average students' work. Okay. I would have graded it. Now I will not. I will hide the grade that I have put. Suppose the excellent student work, the student has got an 8 on 8. Okay, the average student, one student has got a 6, and the other student has got a 5, and the poor student has got a 3. Okay, now those grades I will put on my record sheet, and even if I have written it on the student script, I will hide it. Okay, and I will give my paper, and that answer sheet, the script would have the feedback. I will put ticks and I will give feedback on each of the questions. Okay, and I will have a marking scheme also, and that I will give to Vaibhav. And same thing, Satish will also grade. So my samples, both Vaibhav and Satish will grade. Vaibhav's sample, I and Satish will grade, and Satish's sample, Vaibhav and I will grade. Okay, and we will put our grades. Now, then we will sit and have this conversation. If my students work, okay, I have given 8, 6, 5, and 3. And for the 5 and 6 students, Vaibhav thinks that no, both students should get a 5. Okay, the student should not get a 6. And Satish feels that no, the student should get a 5. And I have put a 6, but both of them are saying 5. So we have to have this conversation why they are saying 5 and why I'm saying 6. Okay, and you have to come to a
Okay.
consensus that okay, this is 5 because of these reasons, and then you grade it. Okay, so that is called
Okay.
as
Okay.
moderation. Yeah, so
Okay.
same
Now
thing
it's
I will
thank you.
do with
Thank you.
Vaibhav's sample and I will do with Satish's samples. Okay, so there has to be a spreadsheet which says students A, okay, Ashika, Vaibhav, Satish, okay, criteria A, what grade? Then criteria B, what grade? Criteria C, what grade? Criteria D, what grade? So those samples we'll have to grade, and we will, if there is any change in the grades, then I have to put the remarks why we are, and what is the consensus, the final grade that we have agreed to give to the student. Clear?
Yes, ma'am, clear. It's really clear
Anybody
now.
else has any question regarding
So
this?
see
This is
how
very, very
the
important.
problems
I
they
have.
can
Standardization and standardization and moderation is very, very important. Okay.
Okay.
And the visitors will ask this question: how does standardization take place? How does moderation takes place? Do you have any evidence?
Ma'am, Ashika ma'am, this Deepak
Huh.
here.
Bolo.
So, is it mandatory to have the same subject moderation by the same subject teacher, or anybody else can also do?
Good question. Now, suppose if I don't have another teacher, then you should sit with your MYP coordinator, because the MYP coordinator is the pedagogical leader. He or she should know how to do it. Okay. And if you don't, then you can ask in your network if anybody else is able to help you with moderation.
So it should go to the subject expert only. Yeah.
It's a good idea, because then only they will be able to rationalize, right? What grade is not, what
Yeah.
grade is given. But between the sciences, Vaibhav, Satish, and I will have some good idea, right? I will understand my criteria and I can talk to him, though it is physics and chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
have
between
given
your
all the
arts,
detailed steps, and
because
you can
see, your
also
art criteria is same, right? Though
Yes.
you are doing dance and somebody is doing art and somebody is doing music, your criteria is same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only your task specific clarification will differ according to
Yes.
the task,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And if
Mm-hmm.
you read the task specific clarification, then I should be able to grade if I am a music teacher and you are an art teacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think so it is a problem.
For art
You,
subject, it is not a problem. For
हाँ.
other subject, might be a problem.
Yeah, if I say कि math वाला English का करो, then of course it will be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Language
So
वाला acquisition
between
में कर सकता है.
between the subject groups you can do.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. Any
One,
other question?
one small question.
Yeah, Vaibhav.
So if the school has only one section, then does standardization mean anything?
Yes, you have to do still, even if you have one section. Okay.
But there's only one
Because
section. There's only one teacher.
yes, still you have to do, because
How?
with your MYP coordinator.
Okay.
With your MYP coordinator, you should do, or you should ask in your network if anybody can help you with standardization
Okay.
and
External
moderation.
help.
Yes.
External.
Okay.
Got it. Thanks.
Ma'am, if we don't have, ma'am, if we
yeah,
don't have
yes.
MYT, then
Huh?
if we don't have MYT coordinator,
Then you need to ask your line manager. How can you not have an MYP coordinator?
In some schools, they don't have MYP coordinator. They have DP
yes, ma'am.
coordinators.
Yes,
So
that
if it
is
is
the
the
reason
DP,
I
then
asked.
the DP coordinator will do.
Okay.
All the IB coordinators are pedagogical leaders, so they are not glorified clerks. Okay, they should understand the philosophy of the program. So they should be able, they should be able to do it. Okay, if they are not, then I don't know how they are coordinators. Oi ki hai na, you have something to ask? You've raised your hand.
Yes, I wanted to ask. I'm a teacher from Nigeria, and I have been applying for a series of applications from Nigeria. Most
Okay.
most of those teaching stuff I apply for, they request for IB, PYP experiences, and stuff like that. And meanwhile, this is more like an first opportunity for me. So that's why I decided to join this seminar. So I don't know. Is this the document that you shared just now? Is it possible way that you can share it with us
Yeah,
here that we can have?
I can share the presentation, not an issue.
Okay. And
I'll share it
also,
on the group.
okay. Also, I don't know the chance that I stand, the chance that I stand to have to actually be selected, because I've actually been looking at series of applications, and this particular IB experience is highly needed. So I don't know the chance that I stand to actually gain, to actually have, and to actually be selected for any job offer. I don't know.
So have you taught the Cambridge curriculum?
Actually, I don't my our curriculum here in Nigeria. I
Oh,
was
okay.
trying to compare, yes, I have tried to compare with a Cambridge curriculum, but there's a little bit kind of similarities.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Nigerian curriculum is kind of equated with Cambridge.
So what you can do, and what subject do you teach?
Currently, I teach mathematics at the MYP curriculum. That's a junior school.
Okay. So say if it is MYP, it is from grade 6 to 10.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And if you Google MYP subject guide, you will be able to get the MYP subject guide.
Okay.
And are you teaching MYP program?
Yes, in my current school where I am now, we teach I
The
teach
MYP?
MYP. Yes, I
Okay.
teach.
Okay. And this is your first year?
No, I've been in the teaching field for almost currently now I started teaching for almost this past 3 years now. 3 years going now.
Okay. And you all are authorized for MYP?
And I'm not even trying for the MYP. You know, this is actually my first time of this stuff.
Pardon me, I did not understand what you said.
I'm a teacher in Nigeria. You
Okay.
get I'm a
Okay.
teacher in Nigeria. So that's why I want to actually have a more really like a broad knowledge on this IB program.
Okay.
Like, but the class I'm teaching now is MYP. That's middle year from grade 6
Okay.
to 12, 13 like that. So I teach mathematics. So actually I
Okay.
want to have a broad knowledge of what the MYP program is all about. More
So,
especially
so
IB.
you will have to find yourself a mentor who will help you to understand the MYP. MYP is the most difficult program. You can ask Mr. Vaibhav or Mr. Satish. He's teaching the DP. But you can ask Mr. Deepak. He's been teaching MYP for quite a few years. Even Simon, they are all MYP teachers. It is one of the most difficult programs to understand. Of the four IB programs, MYP is the most complex and difficult to understand. So the first year when you get into the MYP, you will really feel what hit me. Okay. If you have that feeling, it is a right feeling. Okay. And you need to have a mentor who will help you understand the program.
How do I get one? Can you be my mentor?
Yeah, I am the mentor over here in this particular WhatsApp group. That's why I have these different sessions most of the weeks. Yeah, last week I was busy with the evaluation visit, so I did not have those sessions. Okay,
Uh,
Devjyoti, you have a question?
Ma'am, I have dropped my question by that, please.
Satish, what have you asked, Satish? What is the approach adopted by most schools in sharing the timeline of formative assessment and summative assessment with the students and parents? Uh, See, now if you say formative assessments, then my question is they should not be recorded on the assessment record sheet. Okay, because formative assessments are assessments for learning. It is for the teacher, not for the student. It is for you to give feedback to the students so that the students are prepared with the skills that are required for the summative assessment. Okay.
Yes, got it.
So formative assessment you can have anytime. You don't need to tell the students that I'm going to give you a formative assessment. Okay, because it is more about giving feedback. And summative assessments, of course, you should have a record. So in my previous school, in my second IB school where I worked, we used to do the IGCSE along with the MYP. Okay. So at that time, because there was no MYP assessments, this is 2010 to 2013. Okay. So at that time, we used to have we used to start school in July. We used to have one cycle test in around September, October, and we used to have one terminal end of semester exam in December. Okay, November, December.
Okay.
So the cycle test was a summative assessment, but it was to ensure that some teachers did take assessment and did not forget to take assessments
Yeah.
of the different criteria. So it did not assess all the criteria.
Mhm.
The teachers could pick and choose what criteria they wanted to assess. Okay.
Right.
I was the science teacher, so most of the time I used to choose criteria A because it's the easiest. Test dena hai na?
बरोबर.
So I used to do criteria A.
हाँ.
Okay. And this ensured that at least teachers had some assessments done in the middle of in the first quarter of the year.
Perfect.
Okay. And then we had the end of semester
Yeah.
in December, November, December. Then you had another cycle test in March.
Mhm.
Okay. And then you have the final exams in May.
Perfect.
Okay. So that was how my
So the
my
calendar was
assessment
given well in
can.
advance in the first year itself, right?
Yes,
To
yes,
the student
yes,
and the parent. Yes.
yes. So my cycle test dates were given, but the
Right.
timetable for the cycle test would be given a month before the cycle test happened.
Right.
And the cycle test, during cycle test, it was during the class period. So it can be period 3 and 4 if I have science,
Okay.
or period 5 and 6 if I have mathematics. Okay.
Okay.
So we had that you can have only 2 cycle tests in a day.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Okay. And there has to be some gap. You cannot have 3 or 4 cycle tests in a day. So those kinds of rules and regulations, what you are going to follow should be in your assessment policy.
Policy. Perfect.
Clear?
We are developing the assessment policy. That's why this question is coming from.
हाँ, तो फिर then what you need to do is evaluation है ना, guide to evaluation. If you look at guide to evaluation, I was sitting and doing that checklist only. When you look at the guide to evaluation, this document, and if you see the policies, see, assessment policy. What does it state? What should be there? These are the requirements.
Right.
So when you're doing your assessment policy, tick ye hai ki nahi, check if this is there or not. For language policy, check if these things are there or not.
True.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for integrity, academic integrity, in addition to this, please check if you have written anything about AI.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And this is the inclusion policy, and this is the admission policy. So go to this document. It will give you an idea of what should be there. And if you
My
should
last
not
question
miss.
raised over there.
Huh?
This I understood. Now the second question.
Uh,
The way regarding the reporting of the assessment now. I understood the criteria and everything, but as a school, when we report the assessment in the report card, how does the how do we how as a school we cope up the the issue that we come across because the parents want the marks also to be seen in the report card. So does the school clearly says, look, we are not at all will be entering the marks, or how does
Very good question. Very good question. Now, the school that I visited this last weekend, okay, they had a program development plan where they said that we are going to focus only on feedback. Okay. We are not going to give grades to the students for their assessments. There will be a rubric, and you will see those gradings on the highlight the different strands of the rubric, but we will not show them a grade. We will not give them a grade. Okay, grade will be given only at the end of the semester or at the end of the year.
end of the year? Okay.
So we asked to the IB whether it is an issue, you know, because the principles into practice says that you have to inform. But then if the school decides according to the policy, then the school can say. And when we asked the student why they did it, it is because they wanted to remove the stress of grading, you know, because they are always wanting to get the high grades. So to remove that and focus mainly on feedback, that's why they had the program development plan. And they were even thinking that they are going to remove grades till grade 10. So we said that it may be an issue because for grade 9 and 10 for transcripts, you need to show grades when you're applying to universities. So maybe rethink about it.
Just one last thing, I came across a school which, in MYP also they were using similar to the DP assessment structure. Like, they were giving marks and they had a grade boundary. Based on the grade boundary, they used to give the grades and everything.
No, you can't do that. You can do it only in grade 10 where you are doing the e-assessments.
Perfect.
You can't do it in the other grades.
Perfect. That's it.
Okay?
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I
Mridula?
have a question.
Yeah, Vaibhav.
So those, as you said, because the MIP allows for them to not have an, let's say, assignment which gives you grades. If somebody has graduated their grade, like MIP 5 without grades, only on feedbacks and core components, then how do they go to the universities? Because you now also said that they need to produce grades for MIP when they apply for universities.
So right now they are giving grades, but they are planning not to give. So we said that don't do that.
But then what about IB? It itself has made like rules that schools can give not give grade. So
then they'll have to deal with. So that I asked when I spoke to the head of school, there was this other chair of WASC. He said that there are certain universities that don't ask. If you give qualitative proper feedback, then they are fine with it.
oh, but then that would be limiting the scope of application for the students in that case, right?
Yeah, so that risk they have to take then.
Yeah. I hope they make the parents aware of that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Devjyoti, you want to ask something?
Yes, ma'am. So my question is on the lines of e-assessments. So if a school opts not to choose the e-assessments in grade 10, so what is the alternative one that they go for? The same cycle test that they go for, and is it completely coherent with the e-assessments? Means, I mean, the gradings and all, like the structure.
So good question. See, if the student is going to study in India, okay, and wants to keep that options open to study in India and in the Indian university, we tell the students that they should sit for MYP assessment. Okay, we do not want a situation where the government will say something here, show grades, and then you are not able to show, right? So we tell them you have to take ESS. But if the student is 100% sure that from MYP they are going to go into DP, and from DP they may go abroad, okay, then it is okay. So they will get those grades that they get in grade 6, 7, 8. Okay, because assessments will happen same way, right? We will assess all criteria, all strand wise, and we will give the final grade. We will give them the overall grade. Yeah? Well, madam, Mridula.
Thank you for the response, ma'am.
Oh my God, so many questions on assessment. Mridula, you have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, my question is regarding how do we go about grading an answer sheet? Because you just mentioned that when it is grade boundaries, it is meant only for MYP 5, grade 10. So how is it done for, say, grade 6 upwards? 6, 7, 8, MYP 1, 2, 3. Suppose the question paper has about 5 or 10 questions. How is
now, which subject?
Science, integrated science.
Good question. Okay, 1 minute. Now, wait. I will stop recording because I'm going to show